Okay. All right. So good morning. Welcome Crown Toyota family, friends. And we are here today with Sam Bosco. Sam is our Crown Toyota hometown hero. And we thought we'd take a few minutes today, and hopefully we'll do this continuously so that everyone can get to learn a little bit more about Sam and understand the Toyota partnership with the Olympic and Paralympics, and just kind of get us excited because actually, today we are 6 months out from Tokyo 2021. So that's pretty exciting. I can't believe it's 6 months away, but I think we're finally in that countdown frame. So anyway, so good morning, Sam. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So I wanted to just have our viewers have the opportunity to get to know you a little bit. I've had the personal opportunity to get to know you quite a bit better over the past year. And certainly I have lots more to learn. And some of the questions I'm going to be asking today, I don't even know the answers to. So that'll be fun for me as well. So thought I'd kick it off first with just kind of letting everyone know that back in October, John Always Crown Toyota provided Samantha with a 2-year lease on a 2021 Toyota RAV4. And so she's been driving that around town, and you may have seen her. You've probably seen her on our social media. So if you don't follow her yet, follow her at Sammy Cranks. And certainly you can learn more about her today, and then also on her social media handles as well. So Sam, I thought I'd kick it off by asking you a question about your travels. So I see you just had Rio in your hands. So Rio is Sam's dog. And ironically, Rio got the name from Sam's first Paralympic Games from Rio de Janeiro. So knowing that you're a Paralympic athlete, and Rio technically was your first Olympic Paralympic Games, you have had the opportunity to travel to many places, whether it be for qualifying events, places that you've lived previously. So tell us, what's the favorite city that you've visited so far?
Oh, that's a good question. I like to say all of them just because there's something interesting about all of them. But if I had to pick one that was not Rio, because there's so many reasons that being at the Paralympic Games is and always will be a favorite, I would pick South Africa because I got the opportunity to stay after racing. We raced in Peter Merritt. I have a struggle saying it. Peter Maritzburg, South Africa. And a friend of mine and her partner, and actually two friends, her pilot at the same time, because my friend is a blind athlete who races on the tandem bike, asked me if I wanted to stay for 10 days afterwards and just kind of explore the area. And I jumped at the chance because how many times are you going to be in South Africa? And we got to go on safari for 4 days. And that was probably the most surreal experience, aside from all of the cycling races, to get to go and see these animals kind of in the wild. They're used to the cars, so they're still wild-ish. And so it was fun to kind of have that interaction and see all these amazing things happening in the environment. We saw baby leopards crossing the road. We saw 2 jaguars almost trying to like stalk each other and claim their territory. All these just amazing things that make you realize how big life is. And so that's probably my favorite.
That's a great one. So anyone who has never been to South Africa, it's definitely a bucket list type trip for sure.
Absolutely.
I've been there, so I know exactly what you're talking about. And that's amazing that you got to travel there with your sport. So congratulations to you. And I'm sure there's many more events to come that you'll get to travel to and places to go, and Tokyo hopefully being the next big trip on your list, hopefully. So yeah.
Fingers crossed on that one.
So I know. Yes. Tell me about the accomplishment that you are most proud of as an athlete.
Ooh, as an athlete, my on the bike
Or
proudest moment.
not as an athlete. Whatever, whichever one you want to
Yeah,
do. Or both.
yeah. I like to give both. My proudest moment on the bike is obviously going to Rio de Janeiro, and getting my first bronze medal there. As a young girl, I was probably 8 or 9. I raced mountain bikes, and my first dream was to be a professional mountain bike racer, travel the world, and race my bike down all these trails in different countries. And when I had surgery and ended up spending 3 years on crutches because of complications from the surgery, I thought that dream would never be fulfilled. And so for me, getting to go to the Paralympics was my aha moment. I made it and I fulfilled that little girl's dream. And it was my first dream that I ever remember having. So that was probably my proudest moment. And then icing on the cake was getting that bronze medal in the 3K individual pursuit, because it was the tangible accomplishment of seeing the years of hard work, the years of tears and blood and sweat and years of people supporting me and encouraging me and believing in me when I didn't believe in me. So for me, the medal showed me and everyone in my corner that we did it and we did it together. And so for me, I still get choked up. For me, that was my proudest moment on the bike. Off the bike, I would say my proudest moment is graduating with a master's degree in accounting, because I had a full athletic scholarship to the University of Central Florida for rowing, actually, and ended up having to retire from the sport 2 years in, and they took my scholarship away. And I kind of lost a little bit of my identity in that moment and didn't really know what I wanted to do outside of sport even. So I took some time off of getting my degree, and eventually I didn't think, even then I thought I wouldn't necessarily get a degree because I didn't know what I wanted it to be and didn't know if I really had the time. So I got a bachelor's in communications and then ultimately went and got a master's as well. So for me, that is my biggest accomplishment off the bike, is to get that master's degree and push myself outside of sport as well.
That's a great accomplishment. Both are great accomplishments, obviously, to be very, very proud of. Certainly winning a Paralympic medal is not an easy task. Getting there, first of all, isn't easy. And wow, getting your master's. And for me, getting a master's in accounting, someone who's not a big fan of math, I definitely, say that's a huge accomplishment. So
Thank you.
yeah, congratulations on both. Congratulations. So, yeah. So a little bit, your Paralympic journey with Toyota has obviously just been a short journey so far, since October, when we partnered together. But maybe you can talk a little bit about that, but even more so, I know you've shared with me something about your RAV4 that you are enjoying that really helps you as far as a para athlete. And maybe you could share a little bit of that with others, because it's obviously a benefit for anybody, but
yeah, absolutely. Getting the RAV4 and being surprised with the RAV4 from Crown Toyota was and still is a very mind-blowing experience. I didn't expect it, and I cried because I'm a happy crier. And I'm emotional. So when I got delivery of the RAV, it was just almost as the same feelings as getting my first bronze medal, and just having all of those people in the room just encouraging and believing and loving me and what I'm doing, just it almost sparked even more motivation to keep doing this and to keep pursuing my dreams because other people believe in me. And I still walk outside and make sure the car's in the driveway because I still feel like it's a dream. And every once in a while, I run my hand along the side just to give it a little pet. I've even Yukio, which is Japanese for living in the moment. I hope I did a lot of research to make sure, but I never quite know with translations. And so for me, I do my best to try to live in the moment, and that's the tangible, I guess, of trying to stay true to that. And then for me, my second moment of crying in my car of happiness happened at a red light. I needed to run an errand for my husband. And at the time, my ankle was really hurting. It's been hurting even more this winter. And one of the injuries I have from my surgery is that my ankle doesn't necessarily move because it's bone on bone. I lost all the cartilage in it. And so my ankle was really hurting. And for me, driving a vehicle, the hardest part is having to put pressure on the brake. And I wasn't looking forward to driving to do this errand for my husband. And I was stopped at a red light, and I remembered that the RAV4 has a hold assist. So you press the little hold button, and when you've braked hard enough, it'll engage it so that you don't have to keep your foot on the brake. And then it releases when you put pressure on the gas pedal. And so I didn't think that I was going to use it because it was too new. I was coming from an older vehicle and I didn't have any of those kind of luxuries. So I just didn't really think that it would be something I'd be interested in. And my ankle was hurting bad enough that I figured, what the heck, I'll try it. We'll see what happens. Worst is I don't like it. And I engaged the hold assist, and I took my foot off the brake, and instant relief in my ankle and just overwhelming happiness that I just kind of started to burst into tears and then realized I had to keep driving, so I probably shouldn't do that. So it's been a game changer ever since to be able to have that ability. So when my ankle is hurting or a day where my legs are just tired, I don't have to necessarily hold the brake down because my car will do it for me.
Awesome. Gotta love all those wonderful features on the Toyota. So great. Yep. I'm glad that it brings happiness and relief ultimately for you. So yeah.
My husband and I fight over who gets to drive the car. I tell him it's my car, but he likes all the perks too. He really loves the cruise control.
Yeah, some amazing features in today's technology, that's for sure. So
absolutely.
Okay, so you are constantly inspiring me, and obviously that's one of the connections that we made early on, and hence our partnership. And I wanted to know what advice you have for our audience members who may be facing challenges in their professional careers.
Oh, that's a difficult question. The first thing that comes to mind that I would probably say is to know when to ask for help. I struggled with asking for help for such a long time and dealt with pain from my surgeries and the permanent damage, and just kind of thought that was how it was going to be. I just had to struggle through it. And it turns out wearing yourself down to the ground, thinking that you have to just struggle through, not such the best strategy. And so I realized actually through my husband, who kind of pushed me to get a bike fit and encouraged me to do things that mitigated my pain so that I didn't have it. I realized that if I had asked somebody for help and asked somebody, hey, what do you do if you're struggling with this or struggling this way, that they might know the answer, or they might have some way of getting through it. And it took me so long to realize that I could ask for help. And it's not a bad thing to ask for help when you're struggling, because other people know it and you'll learn it sooner. And I guess as I've gotten older, I realized that I should have listened to my parents more. Because they know, like, they've been there. Somebody else can have an answer for you, and you'll never know because you didn't ask if they did, or you didn't ask for that help. So I think struggling in a professional career, the first step for me would be to ask for help with what I'm struggling with, and being okay to ask for that help and open-minded to hearing any kind of constructive feedback or advice.
I think that's perfect advice, because you know, like you said, it doesn't matter if it's struggling with, you know, how much pain you're having when you're riding your bike, or you're in a career and you're having some kind of a challenge. I think, you know, again, it's human nature that we think that we need to figure it out on our own without asking for help. And as you also mentioned, certainly does get solved a lot quicker if you do ask for help rather than struggling through it. Yeah. Love it. Love it. Okay. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the call, we're about 6 months out from Tokyo 2021. A question you've probably been asked over and over and over, but we'll wrap our little series up for today with this one, and maybe just sharing a little bit with the audience on what, you know, moving Tokyo 2020 to Tokyo 2021 has meant to you, and how have you persevered and continuing with your training, and how do things look?
Initially, when it was announced that Tokyo would be postponed to 2021, I was bummed. It would be wrong of me to not say that I was bummed. I think every athlete went through some sort of, man, we have to go another year. I was ready this year and I'm really strong, and now I have to maintain it for a year. And what happens if it doesn't happen the next year? So I definitely had those feelings myself. I was prepared. I was getting prepared. I was upgrading necessary equipment. I was really focusing on elevating my fitness and making sure that I was the best that I could be for September of 2020 for the Paralympics. And to have it postponed was a little bit devastating, but I understood the significance of the coronavirus and really everybody's thought process in trying to make it a safety concern for the athletes, and trying to make sure that all of them and the spectators and the staff and everybody involved in the games could stay healthy, could stay safe. And then it ended up being a blessing in disguise for me, because it allowed me the opportunity to kind of train with no pressure, to just enjoy riding my bike and have fun and maintain some fitness, but not necessarily be my most fit. So my husband and I got to kind of become tourists in our own town and explore the area. And I even got to go to the Hollywood sign for the first time riding my bike. That was one of our trips on a Sunday bike ride.
Fun day.
Yeah. So for me, it was definitely a way of falling even more in love with my bike, and falling even more in love with the joy I feel training and racing. And I kind of was lucky because I got a little bit of that race feel, because I was able to race in the virtual world on a platform called Zwift, which kind of kept the competitiveness in me still alive. But at the same time, I got to enjoy my time at home, enjoy my time getting to know my friends and family a little bit more, and getting to know myself more. It gave me the opportunity to focus on the mental side of the sport and of life, really. And so for me, I feel like going into 2021, I'm a stronger athlete, and I will be even more fit mentally, physically, emotionally. in 2021 instead of 2020. So I think for me, it started out as a bummer, but in the end, it's definitely a blessing that I hope to capitalize on later this year.
Right. The rainbow after the storm,
Absolutely.
right?
The rainbow after the storm. Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Sam, thanks for taking the time today to let our viewers get to know a little bit more about Crown Toyota's Hometown Hero. We'll look forward to doing some more of these as you prepare, and we prepare in supporting you for Tokyo 2021. And we encourage anybody who's watching this to submit questions to us. Maybe we can ask Sam some questions in the next round that you have chosen. So any questions that you're curious about learning more about our Hometown Hero, certainly feel free to get those into us. And Sam, have a great day. I know you've got some more virtual events to attend to, and thanks for taking the time and letting people get to know you a little bit.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait for the next one.
Okay, great. Us too.
Have a good day.
Take care.
Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.